Have you ever worked so hard on something that you were completely exhausted and still had nothing to show for it? You studied all night and the grade didn't move. You grinded on that side hustle for months and made $47. You're the hardest working person you know, and somehow you're still stuck. If that stings a little, good, because today I'm going to show you exactly why that happens. Here's the lie we were all raised on. Work hard and success will follow. Sounds noble, right? Teachers said it. Parents said it. Every graduation speech ever said it. But there's a book I read recently. It's called Bulletproof by an Iranian entrepreneur named Mohammad Amin Dakhili, and it opens with an idea that honestly rewired my brain a little. He says there are two kinds of people in this world: effort-oriented people and result-oriented people. And the gap between them is the gap between struggling and winning. Let me show you what that means. Picture a salesman. His job today is to sell one product. He knocks on 20 doors, 20 conversations, 20 rejections. By evening, he's wiped out. And he says, "Hey, I did my part. I worked hard today. I'll take a few days off and try again." Now, here's the uncomfortable question the book asks. What did he actually accomplish? And the brutal answer is nothing. Zero. Because until a sale happens, no result exists. In the real world, effort that produces nothing is indistinguishable from doing nothing. Ouch. I know. But stay with me, because this isn't about being harsh, it's about being free. Think of it like a treadmill versus a bicycle. On a treadmill, you can run for an hour, sweat through your shirt, burn 600 calories, and you're still standing in the exact same spot. A bicycle might take the same energy, but it actually moves you somewhere. Effort-oriented people live on the treadmill. They measure their day in hours and exhaustion. Result-oriented people live on the bicycle. They measure their day with one question: where am I now compared to this morning? Management legend Peter Drucker put it perfectly. There is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. Read that again. You can be incredibly efficient at going nowhere. And science backs this up. Psychologist Anders Ericsson, the researcher behind the famous 10,000 hours idea, spent his career showing that most people misunderstood his work. It was never about hours. Ericsson found that raw repetition barely improves performance at all. What works is what he called deliberate practice, effort aimed at a specific outcome with instant feedback, adjusted every single round. Same sweat, completely different results. By the way, students, this is exactly why rereading your notes for 5 hours feels productive, but does almost nothing, while 1 hour of brutal self-testing actually moves your grade. Researchers call it retrieval practice. Your brain doesn't reward time served, it rewards being forced to produce. Now, hold on, am I saying effort doesn't matter? No, effort is the fuel, but fuel without a steering wheel is just a fire. And this is where Bulletproof gets interesting, because the author points out something wild. Modern marketing didn't come from business schools. It borrowed its DNA from military strategy. That's actually why he called the book Bulletproof. His whole philosophy is run your life like a general runs a war. And strategy isn't complicated. It just means using whatever you already have, your time, your skills, your tiny budget, in the smartest possible order. Because what does a general never, ever do? Make excuses. Imagine a commander losing a battle and saying, "Well, we had more soldiers, better weapons, a bigger budget, but my troops were tired." He'd be fired on the spot. In war, nobody cares how hard you fought. They care whether you won. Sun Tzu wrote it 2,500 years ago in The Art of War. Victorious warriors win first and then go to war. Defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. Strategy before sweat, always. So here's your first shift. Stop asking, how hard did I work today? Start asking, what actually moved today? It's a small question with life-changing consequences. Okay, so results over effort. But how do you actually produce results consistently? The book gives a metaphor I can't stop thinking about. Running anything, a business, a channel, a career, is like riding a bicycle. You pedal hard for 10 minutes and yes, you can coast for a bit. Momentum carries you. But stop pedaling completely. First, you slow down, then you wobble, then you fall, every time. And this splits everyone into two camps, passive and active. Dakhili describes a shopkeeper who opens his store every morning and just waits. Sunny day, decent customers. Rainy day, nothing. Holiday season, busy. January, dead. Do you see what's really happening there? The weather is running his business. Random chance decides his income, and his only strategy is hope.
And before you laugh at the shopkeeper, we all do this. You send out one resume and wait.
You post your art once and wait. You launch the product, tell your mom about it, and wait. That's passive. That's opening the shop door and praying for good weather. Active people flip it. They don't wait for opportunity to walk in. They go knock on its door every single day. New outreach, daily. New content, daily. New conversations, daily. Pedal, pedal, pedal. And here's the promise the book makes, which sounds arrogant until you sit with it. Active players decide their own income. Recessions, bad markets, bad luck, those things hammer passive people because passive people depend on conditions. Active people create conditions. But now the obvious question, pedal toward what? Because this is where 90% of hardworking people fall into trap number 2. They aim at everyone. The book is blunt about this. The era of sell everything to everybody is dead, buried. The fastest way to grow is to shrink your target. Let me prove it. Imagine 2 lawyers with identical skills. Lawyer 1 says, I handle everything, divorce, taxes, contracts, whatever you need. Lawyer 2 says, I only represent import-export companies. That's it. That's all I do. Now you own a trading company with a customs problem. Who do you call? Exactly. And who gets to charge triple? Same answer. Lawyer 2 didn't get better. She got specific. The book is full of these. A carpet cleaner who only cleans expensive handmade rugs. People drive across the city and happily pay more because with a $10,000 rug, you don't want a guy, you want the guy. A nutrition coach who only works with executives because someone who drops 80 grand on a car will not blink at paying premium prices for their health. There's a 100-year-old line from journalist Herbert Bayard Swope that nails it. I can't give you the formula for success, but I can give you the formula for failure. Try to please everybody. Here's why narrowing works. Practically, the moment you pick one specific audience, you can suddenly answer questions that generalists can't. Who exactly is my customer? What keeps them up at night? What will they gladly pay for? And the golden one, where do I find them? A generalist is sunlight, warm, pleasant, spread over everything, changing nothing. A specialist is a laser. Same energy, one point, and it cuts through steel. And listen, even if you're not selling anything yet, this is career advice. I'll take any role is the weakest sentence in any interview. The person who says, I do this one thing better than almost anyone, gets remembered, gets hired, gets paid. All right, last piece. And honestly, this might be the most valuable minute of this video. Once you're active, once you've picked your lane, how do you know what people actually want? The book's answer is almost embarrassingly simple. Take your hands off your ears. Dakhili calls it keeping your ear sensors switched on. Whenever a real human says the words, I wish, or it's such a shame, or why isn't there a, that right there is the market handing you a business plan for free. Don't believe me? In 2008, 2 guys in Paris couldn't catch a cab on a snowy night. One of them muttered the eternal words, I wish you could just tap a button and get a ride. That complaint became Uber. Around the same time, 2 broke roommates in San Francisco couldn't make rent, noticed every hotel in town was sold out for a design conference, and thought, I wish there was a cheap place for these people to crash. They pumped up 3 air mattresses. That became Airbnb. And my favorite example is from the book itself. After a talk, a busy CEO told the author, loved your book, but honestly, I wish it existed as an audiobook. I only have time to listen in the car. Most people would smile and forget it. He went home and recorded the audiobook that same week. It ended up out-earning the printed version several times over. 1 sentence, 1 open ear. So this week, try it. Every time someone near you complains, don't tune it out. Write it down. Complaints are unpaid market research, and people hand them to you all day long. So let's lock this in. 1, judge your days by results, not exhaustion. 2, think like a general, strategy first, no excuses. 3, keep pedaling. Passive people wait, active people win. 4, aim narrow, like a laser. 5, keep your ear sensors on. That's the bulletproof mindset. Now, I've got a question for you, and I actually read every comment. What's one I wish you've heard this week from a friend, a coworker, or even yourself? Drop it below. Someone's next big idea might be sitting in this comment section. If this video shifted something in your head, hit that like button. It genuinely tells the algorithm to show this to more people stuck on the treadmill. And if you want more ideas like this from books most of the world hasn't discovered yet, subscribe and ring the bell. This was part 1 of a whole series on this book, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. See you in the next one.